some time. And I acknowledge I whiffed on Ben Simmons. I thought he was the guy I would choose. He has deteriorated badly. But Doc Rivers, the coach now of the Sixers, was asked if Ben Simmons could be a starting point guard for a contending team.
I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, he struggled from the free throw line, and that became a factor in the series. There's no doubt about that. Still believe in him, but we have work to do. We're going to have to get in the gym, put a lot of work in, and go forward.
Right now, Ben Simmons may be closer to Rudy Gobert than LeBron James. He's big. He's a great defender. He's long, but he can't shoot. Swear to God, he may be closer right now to Rudy Gobert than LeBron James. But you know what it is? In life and in the NBA, you kind of get what you deserve. Ben Simmons will not work on his shooting. That's the result. Anthony Davis won't work on his body in the offseason. The result, he's always hurt. The Clippers did the load management thing last year. Their chemistry was awful. The Suns' 5 starters all played all the games. Remarkable how good their chemistry is. The Nets spent a fortune on 3 players. They have no bench. Okay? This morning, you are exactly, whether you've been eliminated, you're ascending, you're flourishing, you're declining, you're exactly where you should be. You've all earned it. By the way, Giannis is not a great free throw shooter, but he is a worker. Unlike Simmons, he's a worker. And what did he do yesterday? He hit just enough free throws. He earned that series because Giannis is a worker. He may have limitations, but unlike Simmons, you can tell he is working on these free throws. And therefore, he hit just enough to advance. Paul George. Okay, Paul George has been a player. I'll get there. I'll put the work in. I know my play. What has happened to Paul George? Well, Utah couldn't defend him. Why? Because Utah, once again, cannot defend wings. So they're exactly where they should be. Out because they couldn't stop a wing Terrence Mann or a wing Paul George, or in the games he played, Kawhi Leonard. So Ben Simmons' number one issue is Ben Simmons. He has tools you can't teach, and the stuff you can, he will not work on. Even Philadelphia as a team, this is exactly what they should be. Kind of a mess. Because we've been saying Embiid and Simmons don't even like each other. All-Star game, they wouldn't fly in the private jet down to the All-Star game. Don't like each other. So you can blame the refs. You can blame the head coach. That's big in Utah today. Got to blame the coach. Oh, in Philadelphia, got to blame Doc Rivers. I admit, Doc late in games, his resume is getting uglier. But, even Atlanta is exactly where they should be because Atlanta had to fire their coach. So they brought in Nate McMillan, known as a more defensive-minded coach. And what does Atlanta become? A better defensive team. So we knew they could shoot. We knew Trae Young was good. That wasn't the issue. The issue was Atlanta they're just going to be, this is just all offense, no defense. Now they actually make an effort on the defensive end. So, you kind of end, I always say this, you could have a good childhood, a bad childhood. By like 45, 50, your choices have defined your life. You start looking at these NBA teams, they're all exactly where they should be based on their deficiencies, based on their issues they haven't addressed, based on issues they've tried to address but can't. Old school Phoenix is rolling, and the Milwaukee Bucks, though inartistic and limited, are now in the Eastern Conference Finals. You can add KD, you can add Andrew Wiggins, but at their core, they are built through the draft. This is why I like the Phoenix Suns. They're old school. That's an old school team. Everybody has a defined role. None of this positionless basketball nonsense. They have a true point guard in Chris Paul, though he didn't play yesterday. They have a dominant shooting guard. That's what it's called, a shooting guard. SG, shooting guard, Devin Booker. They have 2 athletic wings. Both can finish, both can hit a 3. Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder. One's a veteran, one's a kid. And then they have an athletic big, DeAndre Ayton, who likes being big. He doesn't hoist up threes. He hangs around the rim. He likes being around the basket. I like my bigs to be around the basket. That's what Anthony Davis, who doesn't like hanging around the basket. He's one of those new bigs. There's nothing wrong with having guys like DeAndre Ayton. He can cover anybody, can protect the rim, but he likes to be around the basket. They don't do load management in Phoenix. That's not their thing. And defined roles matter. I know everybody wants positionless basketball, but that's like the liberal arts degree of academics. Great, you read Chaucer. What do you do? Oh, I want to hire you. What do you do? Well, I am very well read. What do you do? Are you great at something? Not a lot of time to read here at work. What are you great at? Phoenix has people, 3-and-D, true point guard, legitimate scorer, big who likes being a big. They actually play 9 guys. You know, there used to be a time, Brooklyn Nets, with all these super teams, you can't have a bench. You can't afford a bench, so Brooklyn's playing like 6 guys. You know, you go back to the Bulls, they played 8 or 9. You go back to the Magic Lakers, they play 8 or 9. And it's really funny. When you go back to the greatest teams we've ever had, they had defined roles. The reason the Bulls worked, not only was Jordan great, and Pippen was a great too, but Pippen knew Michael takes the last shot. Pippen knew I got to guard the best player sometimes. That's my role. And Phil Jackson brilliantly orchestrated it. If you go look at Magic's Lakers, go look at the Magic Lakers and the point guards they had and the guards they had. So Magic was your classic distribution guard, but he could score like Chris Paul. They had your defensive guard, Michael Cooper. He played defense. And then you had your shooting guard, Byron Scott. He wasn't as good a defender. He wasn't as good a ball handler or distributor. Even within the guards, the great Laker teams with Laker and Kareem, who are arguably as good as any team in league history, everybody had a defined role. Magic didn't have to shoot the shot, but Magic would have the ball late and control it, and everybody knew it. I like Phoenix. They're old school, built through the draft, no load management. By the way, and this is crazy, their players play all their games. That's why their chemistry is so good. Their players play. Their top 4 or 5 players, they all played the entire season. That's why their chemistry is so amazing late in games. By the way, who are the 2 teams that are really, really talented but bad late in games? The Sixers. We don't know what Ben Simmons' role is right now. We can't define it. They don't have a defined point guard. Simmons probably is a point forward, or on the Warriors, he could be a center. Who else is bad late in games but talented? The Clippers. Why? They don't really have a true point guard. We've gotten to this point in society where everybody's equal, everybody's the exact same thing. No, it's okay. You can do what you do. Have a ceiling on other stuff. You've got a defined role that makes you happy in life. That's fine. On the positionless basketball thing, it's okay to have a true point guard who distributes. Last 8 games, Phoenix is 8-0. And they are the best team in the league right now late in games. And it makes no sense, right? Why would a young Phoenix team be so good late in games? Wouldn't the Clippers, with all the veterans, Rondo and Paul George and Patrick Beverly, wouldn't the Clippers be the best late game team? They're arguably, after the Sixers, the worst. Because they don't quite have a quarterback for this offense. And the young Suns are a great late in game team, which makes no sense. Even yesterday, with Chris Paul out, they were great late. It's Devin's team. Devin's the best player. We'll support him. We'll play D. Ayton at the rim. It all works for Phoenix. Now, this is going to be a real tough series. This is going to be a 6-7 game series. Don't kid yourself. The Clippers are bigger. They got more veterans. These are going to be close games. This is going to be a great series. But I like new stuff too, but tradition always gets a bad mark or a bad name, and I like the old school Suns. All right, so what I don't like is Embiid and Simmons playing together. That doesn't work. We've been saying this now for some time. And I acknowledge I whiffed on Ben Simmons. I thought he was the guy I would choose. He has deteriorated badly.